Ah, now we're recording. All right. Well, I missed that part. With us tonight is our guest, Greg Keene from Lilydale, fourth generation medium. Old friends. We worked together 33 years ago. How's it going, Greg?
Doing really well. I've been enjoying Lilydale. I've been up here most of my life in in adulthood up here. And I think now it's turning registered medium on the grounds 46 years.
46 years, and you're in the fourth generation.
Yes.
The stories you could tell.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I'd have to change the names.
Greg told me one night to go home and unplug the wires under my bed. I said, what? And he used to end all his readings with a reading about your car. And I went home and I looked under my bed and there was two extension cords plugged into each other and they were both black. I said, oh, I better unplug them. Well, Greg, it's great to have you. I know you do mediumship work. How do you explain to people that aren't familiar with your work what you do?
Well, I've had a lot of people say that some people are psychic and some people are mediumistic, and a lot of people don't know the difference. And I find that when people refer to as psychic, we're all aware of that. We all have attunement to that. And we all have sensitivities that we're always feeling. But when we have something enter us through spirit and they give us the guidance and it's completely outside of our thinking and our mind, it's what spirit's giving us. It's not a circumstance of what we can imagine or what we can perceive in a conscious way. There's a lot of people at times think they're getting spirit and they really are just very psychic with what they're picking up on. And I find that I teach a class every Wednesday night up here in Lilydale at Fellowship of the Spirit Church. It's just outside the gate of the Lilydale here. And like last night, we had 30 people there, and everybody was giving messages and sharing. And we have novices and we have advanced. And I find the difference between what some people refer to as a reading and then is it going to be mediumship, meaning it's something that I always do a prayer before I start, and I'm always ask God to guide me. And as we open the door to that, then it's something where I step out of the way and I allow my guides, my teachers, my loved ones come through, and they'll bring us the information for that person in that circumstance. And I know that my guides are working with their guides, and it's an information sharing. And then I'm the mouthpiece to share it back to the person. And I find that there's many people out there that have a real great confusion between what they would call psychic and what they call mediumship. And also there's another level of what you could term trance mediumship. There's things that happen at even a deeper level. But I find that most mediumship is something that you're not really in what I would term a trance state. You're in a very relaxed state. Like today, I read for people today, and I read for a 91-year-old woman. And as I was reading for her, her family loved ones come through, and her brother came through and said, please tell her her prayer will be answered. And I said to her about the prayer, and I said, you've been sending out the thought and prayer that you'd be able to leave the earth plane, and when you do, you want to do it in your sleep. And I said, I know you'll pass in your sleep. That's what he's showing me. But he said to me, she's going to get mad at you because she's not leaving yet. And she's 91, and she really had very serious thoughts that, what am I here for? And what good can I do others and involvements with others? And she really understood it spiritually. And I know she's going to be here for quite a while yet, and she's going to be affecting younger people in a wonderful way. So the mediumship is there, and I know some people think of that as something that they wouldn't say, to someone in conversations or a reading, but in reality, it's there, and she understood completely.
Well, I got a million zillion questions for you, and we'll break that up in between readings.
All righty.
But I do want to say there was a time when I advertised myself as a psychic astrologer. And you said, Rick, you're not a psychic astrologer, you're a medium. So I came to Pittsburgh and I started to study every week with mediums. And I found out I was an extra large. No, bad joke. No, I found out I really wasn't very mediumistic. I could do some palmistry. No. What's the word?
Psychometry.
Psychometry. I could hold people's keys and I could tell what's going on with them. But other than that, you have my deep respect because it's very hard to do. I don't know how you do it. Let's get started, and I'll get to my questions as we go along.
Sure.
So we're going to do what we can tonight, and not working like a racehorse, but we're going to work him as we can. And if you would like for Greg to look your way, just raise your hand, and we'll try to. Deborah, okay. Deborah, okay, and then Mark. I will keep these listed here. Deborah, you're on with the Reverend Greg King.
Hello, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be amongst everyone and to have your attention, and just thank you so much. I feel very honored to be here.
Wonderful, dear. Now, one of the first things I feel with you is people have no idea how strong-willed you can really be when you put your mind to things, because I'm seeing you not giving up on anything once you make your mind up.
Yes.
And you've been going through a transition recently. You've been actually stepping back from people, and you're realizing there's some people now you're annoyed with, and you've had a lot going on that I feel would upset you, because at times you're tired of the manipulativeness and some of the games people play, and you're now at a point where I'm not going to put up with it anymore.
Yes.
And would you recognize there's just a few people around you? I'll put it this way: where am I investing my time, energy, love, and emotion? And where have I invested it? And now I reevaluate that to the point of saying where I want to be now in investments, because at times you've looked and thought there was a few things that wasn't such a good investment.
Yes. Yes.
And would you recognize now, not in a mean way, there's nothing negative about it at all, but you've really stepped back more emotionally, and you've started eliminating a few people by just not being available.
I feel like I've been doing it unconsciously or subconsciously. Let's put it more subconsciously.
Well, see, you have the intent in a prayerful and loving manner that you wanted to bring harmony. And the more you've had that intent and thought, the more you're sweeping things clean, and you're having people that are wonderful people and you're enjoying them, but there's other people you're stepping away from and not allowing the involvement to be there. And it's a waste of energy and time. You know, it talks in the Bible about not casting pearls before swine. And I feel like you've had some people there that are really users and they're manipulative energies, but they do it in a passive-aggressive manner, which at times you don't catch right at first until later.
Yes, that makes sense.
And I see you stepping away from a few people. That's a good energy. Also, I feel a woman around you on the spirit side of life, that when she passed away, she had a difficult time with breathing, lungs filled with fluid, and she had a problem with heart.
Yes. Yes.
As I see her with you, and I feel a great deal of warmth and love from her that she watches over things for you. You've been thinking recently about going through the home environment and cleaning out what I would term a little clutter.
Yes.
And she made a comment that, remember, when you're cleaning out the clutter in a physical sense, you're also cleaning out the clutter in an emotional sense.
Yes, okay.
And I felt very good about that. Now, on the left-hand side of your body, your leg and knee bothered you a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I'm picking up pain in the body there, and I feel that has bothered you. Left-hand side, knee and leg, I felt an energy with you that sometimes you have a sensation of numbness.
Right.
And I feel you're going to be able to get that cleared up. And I would say, looking at someone that would be doing the needles, I feel like if they were working on you in that therapy level, I feel like you'd regain some feeling and regain some sensitivity that at times you feel you've lost.
Okay.
And I'm not a doctor and I can't prescribe, but that's what they're showing me. And I feel like you're a very gentle person there and you care about people, but I feel you're looking at people very simply now, that some of them are in need and you don't mind at all giving and helping and doing because it's something you do sincerely. But you've also run into some people that are in greed and not need. And I feel you're really starting to have a little alarm system now that's showing you who is and who isn't.
Yes.
And it's working very well for your ability to step aside and not get drawn into the drama that they choose to create and present, because it is drama, but it looks like reality. It's like they could confront everyone with it and have everybody believe that they're so in need, but in reality they're in greed.
Okay. Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
And who would be the gentleman in spirit there that had injury with his left hand before he passed away? His hand did not function as well as it should.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this was somebody younger. Was this somebody younger that I knew?
I feel someone younger, and I feel there was damage or an accident.
You know what? It's just escaping me from right now. I'm sorry.
Well, I see him around you, and I see him helping you. Also, you just recently had a little difficulty where your eyesight bothered you in the one eye, not both eyes.
Uh,
Slight
um,
blurriness, because I get a blurriness, and I feel the one eye wants to tear.
okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And I feel you're going to get that straightened around also. I do feel with you a change of diet. I feel like you've been switching things around a bit, that it's not only a healthier level, but I want to feel better.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel you've actually been a slump with your energy. Your energy's not been as up as you sometimes would really desire it to be. And I see you regaining that. I feel like that's going to come around to a positive level for you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
One of the amazing things I'm picking up is Greg and I are once again paralleling each other after 33 years of being separate. But Greg, that's exactly what I'm getting with my readings. People are having a hard time because of false Christian, Presbyterian, Protestant rules in their mind that you got to act like you like the person. The person's abusing you, but sit there and like it, like it, like it. And people are turning off now. They're getting themselves out of it. They're saying to themselves, I don't have to sit here and be abused. And they're starting to see the difference. And that's really happening across the board. I wish you good luck, Deborah.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Greg, for that. I'm going to try to get to as many people as we can. But I really do see that, Greg. It's the number one thing on the tip of my tongue. I see it everywhere, and I deal with it all the time. And the message is that if you, like Greg said, you got an inner barometer. If it wants to get you away from somebody, then leave. And you're not mean, because you're probably nice to everybody, but you're being mean to yourself when you force yourself to stay. Next on the list, thank you, Greg. The next on the list was Mark, who had raised his hand, and I want to connect Greg with Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. You know, you've had a good heart and you care about people, but I feel there's times you like to have your silence and quietness all to yourself.
Absolutely.
And I feel you're going through a little transition here about what you'd like to be working on, because would you understand you have been an instructor or teacher in your life to many others?
Yes.
Because I see that as an open door for you, and you're always helping people in that manner. And I feel like there's times you do find yourself being annoyed when people don't get something done the first time, because in your mind, it really annoys you to do things over and over.
Yes.
And I kept seeing you taking on the time of reorganizing now as to where you're wanting to be in your life and what you now would like to start for, because would you recognize you've already done more things in your life, and it's a lot of different things. But I see you now at a point where can I have the impact on people where I could see the real growth and change and accomplishment, and you've been finding yourself drawn to that more.
Yes.
I see that opening up, and I see it as being a part of your life, and I certainly see it as a part of you sharing with others. And there's been thoughts recently that at times you've been kicking around the idea of living elsewhere besides where you're living.
Yes.
Because I keep seeing a change of energy, and I feel you haven't really, let's say, put it all together in a sense of saying, well, here's where I'm going and when I'm doing it and all that. But I feel like in a way, you're starting to really formulate that more.
It definitely is top of mind.
Well, I see it coming about wonderfully, and I feel very at peace. But I heard someone in spirit laughing, and they said, tell him to make sure he's above sea level by a good distance.
Appropriate topic for this week.
Yes. And it's a good energy for you to make the changes you want to make. And I feel very comfortable. Also, you did go through a thing recently, not that it's a have to, but there's a thought there about changing the automobile.
Well,
I told you it always ends with cars.
let's just say Betsy's getting older. That's all.
Bets.
Well, I don't feel a problem with the car. I just sense an energy here that you're going to run into a situation where, do I put the money into this car, or do I go ahead and just get something really nice that I can depend on? And I feel like you're going to get something nice you'll depend on. And just recently, there was this problem where you found a small dripping or leak from the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're on our way to a little problem here, so let's have a look.
Okay.
Greg has Venus and Mars in Pisces. He has a nice way of putting things. He has a moon in Libra and a sun in Capricorn. So he's a pretty smooth talker, and I should learn from you.
We're on the air, Rick.
That's okay. You and I never worried about that before. Smooth talking can be a good way of putting things too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. Next on our list is Erica. Erica, you are on with Greg.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, Greg. Thank you so much for being here and offering this wonderful energy and talent that you have with us all today.
Good. Well, one of the first things with you, dear, I feel with you now, I don't know if you've done this in your life, but this is where I'm seeing, I could see you being such a teacher. And I'm seeing you being able to really influence people in such a good way. And you've always been able to do that. And I see people pouring their lives out to you at times.
That's very true.
And
Total strangers sometimes.
Absolutely. You could be in the grocery store and the person ahead of you in line would start telling you everything that ever happened.
Yep.
And you have a wonderful energy there that works in that way wonderfully for you. And I feel also you have a guiding influence with you that's a woman in spirit. I see her a person that really touches people's hearts, and she's a healer. And I see her working with you and through you as a healer, because there are times you've taken people under your wing and supported them and was there for them when no one else would be. And I feel like you've been able to do that and do it so readily and easily, and it's not even a second thought. You just do it.
I'm attracted to the underdog, definitely.
Well, you do a wonderful job with it, dear. Please continue. And I feel an energy there that I do feel with your husband. He's finally listening to some guidance you've given him, because you've always said things to him in support, and you've always said things to him that really helped him. But I'm seeing him at times where he resisted quite a bit for quite a while. And now I feel like he's really opened up more in a sense of acceptance. And that has worked a lot better and a lot easier. And I do feel the transition for him with work and security and accomplishing, he's enjoying it. You know, it's like, yes, I can make some money doing things, but I'm enjoying it. And that's important for him. The more he teaches in a way of his giving from the heart, the more he's happy with it.
Yes, he needs a lot of healing. That will really help him a lot.
Yes. And that's what I feel is healing him, sharing with the people in the way he does, because he really feels that there's an importance of what's being given. And he has an importance of what's being given, but it's helping him build a self-esteem and confidence that there was a period of time in life he would have not been able to do that.
Absolutely. He's got stuff going way back to his childhood, most probably, that has been getting in the way.
Yes. And I feel the two of you are comfortable where you are, and that's fine. But would you recognize on a seasonal level the thought of going away for a bit and to start to leave for a little while and be gone for a while and visit somewhere else?
I'm not feeling that now because of all the new things we're starting. It just wouldn't be a good time to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me share it with you this way. I feel wonderful with the transition that you're into and the things you're growing in, but I see you also having a little time out where it's like I can unplug from everything for a little bit, go away, enjoy yourselves, and come back, and then plug right back in. But I see it being well planned, well orchestrated. It's not a problem. It'll work well. But I feel it's not going away for months. It's just going away to get away.
Well, we do that every weekend. We just go to the ocean, or there's so many places around here that you can go to that are amazing. And I mean, I feel like I'm on vacation when I'm at home because I've got these beautiful views and surroundings. So it's kind of hard to leave sometimes.
Well, I see you going away for a couple trips here that are going to be wonderful, and you'll enjoy them. And it's not just right there at the beach there. It's somewhere else. But I feel really happy. I'm seeing a woman in spirit with you that when she passed away, there was cancer in her body. She knew she was leaving. I felt an energy from her of full awareness that she was going to be going on. But I see her doing it very gracefully. She did not let people know how much she was really bothered by what was happening.
I do have a couple of relatives that passed away from cancer.
Well,
My
I get the
grandmother
feeling,
and my aunt.
I get a feeling here of an aunt or grandmother energy. And I feel with her, she was normally feisty, independent, hardworking lady. But I feel an energy with her that she never gave up on anything. And even though she was really terribly sick, I didn't see her showing people how sick she was.
Yeah, that would have been my grandmother.
Because I see her with you and watching over you. And would you recognize with her, she enjoyed the purple flowers.
Not that aware of which flowers she liked because she lived in Poland most of my life, and I only got to see her relatively short amount of time when she immigrated here.
Well, I see her with you, and she shows me a bouquet of purple flowers, and she puts them in your lap, and she wants you happy.
Oh.
And I feel a healing energy around you. And would you understand you've been thinking about doing some teaching that is more spiritually connected?
I've been wanting to be able to put astrology and coaching and NLP and hypnosis and all those things together to help to counsel people. Not really so much teaching it, but to help people.
Well, I feel an energy there that I can see you. In one level, it's a form of balancing of counseling and helping. It's a healing energy. But on another level, I feel like there's going to be people that want to actually get together as a class and for you to share with them the idea of understanding the healing and really working with it in that form, that would be the mainstay of the healing aspect. And there's other things that tie into it, but I feel like the healing aspect would be the mainstay.
Sounds wonderful.
And I'm seeing a gentleman in spirit that before he passed over, I feel he either had a heart problem or a stroke problem, because when he went, I felt limited in his communication skill.
My father had Parkinson's for 10 years and slowly kept getting weaker and worse. And then towards the end, the last 3 years, he had Alzheimer's. So he was starting to lose his memory. And after he lost all of his physical mobility.
Well, I feel he's with you, and I feel love and support there. And it bothered him greatly to, in a sense, hang on as long as he did. Because to him, it was a real embarrassment, because he liked to look nice and have things together, and I mean, dress nicely. I mean, he wanted to have things in order. And I felt for him to really reach a point that he reached, as he witnessed himself doing this from the spirit side, he was really annoyed with the idea that his body just kept hanging on.
Yeah, my dad was in advertising and in radio, and he was out amongst the public all the time, and he loved clothing, dancing. He was a real good dresser.
Because I kept seeing him so ashamed of the idea of how he was before he passed, and that he knew that that's the way it was and there was nothing he could do about it. But on a spirit level, he stepped out of the body a number of times and would be outside the body and sharing with spirit more. and then he'd come back to the body and going, well, I'm still here yet.
Yeah, I think my dad was very connected to spirit. He was a Pisces, and he had a great imagination. And
Well, he's certainly with you, dear, and I feel very bright, very loving man. I also feel with him, he liked to have his hair in order. Looking nice, but I mean, I got to have everything in order here. And I feel with him, it bothered him greatly to lose that ability as time went on there.
Thank you, Greg. I want to move along because we have so many people. I'm sorry, Erica, but I want to get
no,
lots of different people involved.
more than
Laura, you're on the list too. I just published a list of who's in order. I'm trying to get everybody a reading if possible. Greg, I had a couple quick questions for you.
Yeah.
To give you a moment, a breather here. Over the years, I've watched you do a lot of work. What's happening to you in terms of who's using you, who's speaking through you, what your purpose has changed into, what dimensions you're in? How do you explain that to us?
Well, I'll put it this way. As a child, I was overwhelmed at times by sometimes being so open that I picked up on so much. And over the years, I've learned to filter it, as we all need to do at times. And my direction in life was reading for people, and I've done that all my life, and that's basically what I've done throughout my life. I mean, I was out at Inspiration Stump here in the forest here, working with people when I was very young. I mean, I gave messages when I was 8 years old, and being 64 now, and I'm still doing the same thing without change. But in a change that you see happening, I feel that the world has opened up so much. Like we're talking now the way we're talking, and back in the 80s, we wouldn't have been able to.
We had to explain. It was like pulling teeth. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
In case you don't know, that Lilydale, they have a tree stump, and they call what stump readings. You take turns, you get on the stump, and you give the reading that you're picking up.
Yeah, the camp here is 130 some years old, and it's a really interesting energy because Inspiration Stump was something that for having a podium in the middle of the woods, they cut a tree down and they had a stump that people would stand on, and they built benches and put benches all through the woods there, and you'd literally walk down a long pathway and be out in the woods and listen to the speaker for the Sunday service and everything, and they'd stand on the stump, and then we have a message service afterwards. And the message service would be the mediums that are consistently here. Like I went out just a couple days ago here, and I was out at the Inspiration Stump. They've encased it in cement now, and you no longer stand on it. But went out and read for people and worked with that. And we had a group of people here from CNN, and they were filming. Mm-hmm. And we've had quite a few things happen like that. I think some people have heard No One Dies in Lilydale. There's a film out there on that. There's a few others. But it's always an interesting energy in my life because I look at the changes that are there, and Rick understands, I don't force it to be, I allow it to be, because I look at it in a way of always sending out that thought and prayer. Please place me in the knowledge and awareness I need to be in, as well as place me where I need to be to share with and meet the people that I need to meet, what the connections really are. And I believe now we're reaching out into the world so much more exclusively than just what would be a spiritualist church and you talk to the person in the pew. And it's just become such a wide thing. And like all of you right now listening and communicating with us, this energy is so special. Being in Lilydale, I read for people from all over the world. And I think we got over 40 some people now I've read for from Japan that are from the consulate in Washington. And it's just interesting how many different types of people and belief systems and people that are opening up. The religion can no longer contain, all of everyone's trust and belief. And that goes for all the religions, not any one. This is all of them. We have the monks from Tibet that come here in the early season. And even the monks, I read for them. I mean, I think it was 14 monks here the last time at the beginning of the season, and we do a circle, and I do a circle reading, and I read for every one of them. And they're very open and very loving, and it's just an amazing energy to share with them. So the world is changing, and I feel the negativity in the world right now is something that's forcing people to share and reconnect and communicate that we normally haven't.
You're exactly right. And I got a picture of those monks that once you get started, I'm going to dig it up and put it up. The last time I was at Lilydale and they were at lunch with us. Thank you for that answer, Greg. That's exactly what we're seeing everywhere. And you truly are remarkable. I want to be not greedy and get on to the next person because they all want to hear from you. They all want to touch you. And next is our Saskatchewan Canuck named Elkie. Elkie, here's Greg.
Hi, Greg. So nice to see you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Good. Your headset working good?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Now, would you recognize that in your life right now you've had some electrical things not work correctly?
Yes.
Because I feel an energy around you that you're in a transition right now and you've pulled back from people a little bit, but I feel like you're finding yourself now, the people I really connect with and I enjoy and I love, I'm connecting with. There's some other people now you've looked at and thought, I don't like feeling the way I feel with certain people. And you're feeling it very strong. And you're now not only feeling it, but you're reacting to it by stepping back away from them. And that's been a good energy for you, and it's a good step because spiritually, that's exactly where you need to be, is you're starting to hone in on the positive energy and the positive comfort, and it's not something disruptive. Alrighty. And I see it working for you in a calm way and not have the turmoil that you did have before. People don't realize this with you, but you take things so deeply. And you can get very upset with someone's energy at times.
Yes, I'm very empathic.
And I feel with you, not only you're empathic, but I'll put it in this term, there's an empathic energy that occurs, but there's also a feeling within you that you at times used to, and I understand used to, carry that empathic energy with you even after you left that person's presence. You would carry it. Now I feel you've learned to cleanse it out and not allow it to be carried within you in the way that you one time would have.
Absolutely, yes.
And that's wonderful. And you've been thinking recently more about working with laying on of hands, healing?
Debatable.
Well,
because of this energy thing.
well, let me put it this way. You have a pet now?
Yes, I do.
And would you recognize when the pet's not feeling good, you automatically hold them?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel that I'm seeing you with the animals, and you can hold an animal and you can give them love, give them a healing, and the energy flows there, and it works so well and so easily. But with people, you're hesitant.
Yes, because I pick up the negativity from people.
Exactly.
Take it in too much, yeah.
Exactly. Now, with the animals, it's unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And with people, it gets a little shaky at times. And I feel you're beginning to realize now that you're needing to relax with the idea of following what you're feeling and not allow it to be something that you hesitate in giving the healing, because what you're learning to do is put a little, let's say a barrier up, and I don't feel it's really had to be that strong, but a barrier in a sense that I'm giving the energy to them in a healing, loving manner. And I'm sharing it with them that they recognize, they feel, they know, and it's important, but you're not taking it on.
And that's one thing that's very important. You can't get attached when you have a successful reading or you have an unsuccessful. Give the message you're getting. Give it with heart. Give the message you're getting. Do the best you can. And don't be attached to if they frown or get upset because they're dealing with their stuff. Very well said, Greg.
Well, think of it this way, dear. When you're looking at people, there's a hesitancy about how close to reach out to be close to them because you automatically pick up the energy. When you're physically touching a person, there's a part of you that wants to put a little shield out there and keep protected.
Yes.
And I feel the need for you to know that when you start out with the intent, that like in the morning, I start out with the intent May I be a messenger and guidance and healing to whoever I'm going to be in contact with. Please place me in the pathway of those who are in need. And by doing that, it's something that I look at it as, never thought of it or looked at it as any energy that I'm going to retain or hang on to. It's not needed. I'm just giving the energy. And remember, when we're giving God's energy, it's God's energy. It's not our energy. And we don't become exhausted. We don't become upset. We don't become a person carrying things. It's something that's just God's energy flowing through us. We're the vehicle of that touching of that energy. And that's all it really amounts to, is we're the vehicle. Yes, we're happy to see the change. We're happy to see the advancement and the healing. But it's not something we really carry it with us then. Bless them and you go on.
And sometimes an uncomfortable message that you deliver is the best thing that person can hear. And sometimes it is.
Well,
I've had to learn about boundaries lately. It's been really on my radar very well. And, as I firm up my own boundaries, I'm more comfortable with, approaching other people and dealing with their stuff, because it's not my stuff. It's theirs.
Hey, Greg, Elke is a fine medical astrologer. She works a lot with the body and the planets together. What can you tell her as far as her skill level with her main interest in medical astrology?
Well, I feel you're wonderful at that, dear. You do very beautifully. A little earlier, I was reading someone and talked about their leg and their knee and the different things that are bothering them. And I feel with you now, this is hitting you directly. Think about it in this form. Don't you at moments, not only looking at the chart and you see things that would be medical connected, at moments you've actually felt it in your own body?
Always do. Always do.
I see it in your own body. You're feeling it. You're recognizing it. It's there. But remember this. Never allow it to be something you carry. Another
I
one,
know.
when I feel things, I feel it just enough to recognize what it is and why it's there, and I get enough information to express it. As soon as I express it, it's gone.
Boy,
I know. You let it flow.
You're really good at that. You're really good at that.
And that's what I feel you're needing to look at, is realize that you have this hesitancy on getting involved with people because you're picking up on what you're picking up on. As you're learning to put a better filter up and you create that more of a filtered energy, you're then going to be able to step in, share it, be incredibly accurate, and feel it and know it and explain it in detail. But to be able to step out without any remnants of that hanging on.
Sounds wonderful.
When Spirit started working through me, I wouldn't allow it because I didn't know, was it Mars, was it Saturn, fourth house, and I wasn't sure, so I didn't say it. And just kept banging at my door, and I had to eventually just let it out and let it out. And when I did, it just made everything so much better. You can trust it, but you can't trust it a lot at first. It's a little rocky at first, right, Greg?
Yeah.
You got to let it through, and then you'll start to feel, this is it. I got this. It's right, and let it go.
Well, see, that's where, like, when I was reading for this other person, and I'm picking up the thing with the leg and all that, all right, I know you feel it. I know you sense things, and sometimes it actually makes you hesitate in reading for them a little bit. It's like pulls back a little bit on the idea of how much you can really do, because there's a part of you a little leery of what else am I going to pick up on.
I've picked up plenty of stuff. I was researching a chart for somebody with chronic fatigue one time, and the more I researched, the sicker I felt, until I finally went to my friend and I said to her, I'm dying. I don't know what's wrong with me. And she said, oh, don't be stupid. You're just picking up the stuff. You're not dying. And she just kind of put it into perspective, and I was fine again. It's that, learning how to deal with the energies,
You'll get it. You'll get it. Well, thank you, Elke. We're moving along.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg, very much. That's excellent. John has been patiently waiting, as a lot of people are. John, you are unmuted. You're with Greg.
Hi, Greg. It's an honor to meet you.
How are you doing?
Honor to meet you. Very good. Very good.
You take things very, very seriously, and people don't realize how much you think things over, because You can wear the paint off of stuff, man.
Well, yeah, you sound like Rick.
I didn't know he was that sensitive.
Because I feel like you really pick up on a lot of stuff and you keep going on it on your mind until you get it figured out. But the problem is, when you're figuring it out, it changes color by the time you get it done because the paint's gone. Now, wait a minute. What color was it when I was looking at that first?
Yeah, that sounds dead on. That sounds exactly right.
Now, would you recognize you've been going through a little transition recently, that you've actually been considering the idea of income and how you would work on a business level and what other investment aspect you want to be making?
I have. I totally have. I think that, that while I like my career where I'm at now, I don't see that as, at least the particular role that I'm in is something that's going to continue indefinitely.
Let's put it this way. I see it continuing as long as you need and want it to. That's fine. But I also feel an energy with you that you're wise enough intuitively that you're picking up on the idea that I want something now. I know people always say, well, I want something to fall back on. Well, I don't feel it's something you're falling back on. I see you building up something very equal to an income level and an accomplishment level of what you really have there, and incredibly dependable, and be able to do what you're doing, continue doing what you're doing, and that's no problem. But I feel like I'm building this other area up, and I'm not even going to tell everybody I have it or I'm doing it. And you've been a little secretive about some of those things there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, John. John, he's hitting you hard. He doesn't talk to people like this.
Oh, I've noticed it. I'm picking up on that, Rick.
That means you're special and you can handle it.
Okay.
What I mean,
Working for you and working well, and I see it as a nice advancement because really your life has been going along very nicely, and you're really looking at the achievement level of where you're at, what level you're in, and I see you going further yet without a problem.
Okay.
And you've been thinking about it recently that you have some people that are a little egotistical around you, and I see them having some attitudes that you just sort of play it low key and you don't get involved in it. But I feel like there's an energy there where they can really be a pain in the backside at times.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to step back a bit and just not have the involvement that at one time you would have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a good energy. It's not that you're rejecting them, but I'm really not getting caught up in the deeper involvement there that you one time could have.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been having some thoughts recently that you're looking at things and thinking, okay, here's how old I am. Here's where I'm at right now. And where do I really want to be going here? Because you're looking quite a ways ahead at, I'm almost in, and this is the term they put it in, I'm looking so far ahead that I can turn around when I get there and look back and go, what did I do that would be the best steps taken to get me to where I really desire to be?
Mm-hmm.
And you're developing that in your mind and thoughts now. You've been putting that together.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
And it's working great. I mean, it's no problem at all. I just feel with you that you get bored with life, you get bored with people, and sometimes you just want to be away from everybody. And I feel the energy at times has been needed for you to be away from everybody for a bit. Just have quietness. Now, you can handle the outrageous energies and the egotistical energies, and you can get in there and deal with it. But I also feel with you, it's like, give me a break. When I want to be out of it, I want to be out of it. I don't want to deal with none of it.
That is very true. That is very, very true, Greg.
That egotistical stuff's not you.
No.
And you really find yourself being annoyed with some of these folks, and you can't understand how they got that old and continue to be that stupid.
I see a lot of it, and I don't understand. I mean, I think I'm in good company with a lot of people here who do get it. I mean, you and, obviously Rick included.
Well, think of it this way. God bless them somewhere else, preferably further away.
I like that. Hey,
Greg, I want to ask you something. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Look, I'm going to put it straight because I always put it out straight. People are different now. Back in '82, you remember on the radio, I would say, something spiritual is happening to you. What's going on? They say, I just got back from Walmart. I don't go to church enough. I don't need a church report. I don't need an attendance report. Now people know. What I'm saying is this. People want to hear this stuff now. And what's so neat, they don't want to hear just stories, titillating stories. They want to develop it inside themselves now. They want to take what you give them, go home with it, and work on it. They want this for themselves. What can you tell people that are an inch away, or they're working on it, or they're nibbling around the edges? What do you think?
Well, the energy I always feel is this. Now, like we do a class, I do a class on Wednesday nights, and it's spiritual development. And a lot of people meditate, and I'll say to people right up front in the class, listen, I'm going to meditate, and I want everyone to close their eyes and meditate. I meditate for about 6 minutes. That's how I meditate. I set the intent. This is what we're here for. We're asking Spirit to come to us in a way that we may recognize and understand and clearly know and see and feel the message. And in whatever way works the best for every individual, that's great. And then I ask them to open their eyes, come back to the circle, open the eyes, and then take time to look around the circle at each person and say, do I feel something from them, or do I feel something for them? And it's something that we go around the circle in that manner and immediately start into messages, and people start sharing what they're sensing and feeling. Now that, to me, completely shoves it way away from the religious aspect and goes into the idea of, here's God's presence. The spirit loved ones are guardian angel that watch over us. They're there to help us at all times. And our free will is very well respected and recognized by Spirit. Spirit meaning God's presence. Not just, I've had some people say, well, Spirit. I said, no, it's God's presence. In the spirit world, there are messengers and guardian angels to come to us, guide and help and uplift us. And I always put that energy out there that it's like, okay, set the intent. Do it with prayer. Do it with the energy that you really know is right to do, but not hold back from it. Allow it to be. And that's where I find that most people now in religious ways, I have people come to the circle, I read for Tibetans, I read for everybody. I've even had born-again Christians I read for. And, the one gentleman said to me one time, he says, I watched you out at the outdoor service, and he said, you started with a prayer. And he said, that's the guy I want to go to. And I said to him, I said, to me, the connection to God is the connection of presence, guidance, light, love, healing. And when are we going to allow ourselves to recognize that man has, in some levels of belief systems, really mucked it up?
Yeah.
And we're needing to recognize the fact that all these little guidelines that people put in order here that are man-made guidelines, it's really a mess.
Well, the one thing I want to ask you before we move on is clear to me. What does Spirit want to tell us?
What Spirit wants to do is open us to the idea that we have the ability to change the world around us. And I'm talking the world around us, meaning the whole planet. Not just the idea of the world around us of our family or someone close to us, but literally the whole planet. And I always end the prayer in the circle with the idea that may God fill us with light, love, and healing. As we share this with others, we're a beacon of light to others, and as we touch them, they're a beacon of light to others yet. And then it goes around the world. And it's a choice we're making. Do we want to live in disharmony, or do we want to live in harmony? And that's our choice. Free will is well respected by Spirit, meaning if we don't ask for the help, they have to sit back and watch us bump our heads. And if we ask for the help, we're going to have intuitive things come to us in a way that's wonderful and uplifting and healing. I had one lady say to me one time, she says, well, as a young woman, I was open to it and I was into it and I did healing. And she said, I shut it all down because I had my family. And I looked at her and I said, now, hasn't the family been a mess? And she goes, yes. And I said, now, don't you think your gifts and understanding of Spirit, understanding of God, gifts from God, wouldn't that be wonderful to utilize your family now? And she goes, I now realize that. I shut everything down. And now she's reopening.
And our show found you at the right time. Marilyn, you're up next. This is the Reverend Greg Keene. Marilyn?
Hey, feel free to embellish.
All righty. How you doing?
I'll take the blue pill.
All right. The Kool-Aid, huh?
It's either the red pill or the blue pill, right?
Well, I feel an energy around you that I want to say you've always been a natural healer with laughter. And I feel an energy that people are around you, and I feel you can get them going and get them lighter and get them to float freer. And it's something you always have been able to do. And I feel an energy with you that there's always been a healing energy. When you were a child, you questioned the world, you questioned the whole idea of the world and how people acted and what people were doing. And you went through a period as a child that really bothered you to see the negativity and some of the manipulation energies that went on. And it really deeply hurt you. And you sometimes actually thought, what am I doing here?
Well, I looked kind of melancholy in all the pictures of my youth.
Yes. But you pulled back a lot and you didn't allow people to know what you felt. And I feel now you're really opening up to what you're feeling and looking at it and going, you know what? I'm going to say it in two ways. Not that you don't care what people think, but on another level, you don't care what people think.
Well, I want to think with my heart. And
Right.
that's kind of revolutionary.
Yeah. And that's absolutely revolutionary because you've been around people that it's like, do what? You're thinking what? And you're allowing yourself to do it. And you're freaking people out a little bit at times. And it's like, well, she's a nice lady, but she's a little different.
They call me a nut.
I know. But I feel that's working for you in such a nice way because what you're doing is you're the harmless nut. You're the healing nut. You're the loving person. And they recognize that. They realize that. And even though they may think you're a little different, I feel like they accept you in a very loving manner because they recognize that there's nothing in a negativity manner at all, that you're coming out with.
Thank you for that. I needed to hear that tonight, I think.
Well, there's two things other that you need to hear. Number one, I feel like you got some family around you that you love them, but boy, you just like to line them up and smack them.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama and trauma right now.
Oh boy. Well, I'm going to put it simply. I'm just seeing you stepping back enough now that the stories they come across with that sound maybe believable is really not believable. They're not reality. And I'm seeing you beginning to catch that more and more now, that it's like they want you to do what they want you to do. Therefore, they're going to try to convince you that this is a reality. And you're realizing more and more it's not.
Well, I find myself wanting resources so that I can create a new environment that's more supportive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to put it this way. There's a few people there, not all of them, but just a few people that I want to say it's called they need to grow up and they need to be responsible. And I feel they're choosing to not grow up, and they work really hard at that. And they also work really hard on the idea of not being responsible because you end up with a shovel and you're in a ditch digging and they're sitting back watching. And I'm seeing you now realizing that, wait a minute here, there's something wrong with this picture.
Told you had a Capricorn.
He's embellishing now.
You're going to balance it out, and I see it working for you really well. And you've been having some thoughts recently that not immediately, but coming up more towards the fall, that you debate a little bit about spending some time away on a trip.
Oh, I would love that. I need a new horizon.
Well, I get the opportunity coming up here in the fall that I feel like it's a wonderful energy. I felt a very healing energy, and I feel like it's a trip for you. It's not for everybody else. It's for you. And I see it on a level, I would say, as a spiritual endeavor. But I want to say I don't see it as something where I'm going off to a cave somewhere and meditate for days. I see this as something where I can go and relax and enjoy exploring. And the exploring is very necessary to allow yourself to explore and allow yourself to enjoy it. And it's really a great feeling.
Yes, I'm desiring expansion.
Well, it's coming together, and I know you're going to do it, and I have no doubt.
That's very reassuring. Thank you, Greg.
would you recognize there's a female on the spirit side of life that's with you very close, that I feel with her that she had a difficult time before she died, but you would have been a help to her?
I'm not sure who that would be.
I want to go back when she passed away. She said to me, I had more wrong than right because I feel there was a lot of things in her body going wrong.
Was it a classmate or was it a family?
This was a classmate and a friend.
I think I know who you're talking about now. Was her name Donna?
Donna's fits because I feel her energy, and I want to say she had a certain spontaneity you always enjoyed.
Yeah, she was a farm girl.
Because I see her with you, and I just see her reaching out to you, and she said to me, you're healthy, you'll be healthy. And she said, you're allowing yourself to hold back because of others, and you don't need to.
So the resistance that I feel in the biological sense is holding me back from healing.
Yes, and that's where I'm seeing you allowing that to be something you're letting go of and not carry that. Because recently you even looked at age and thought, my God, I'm that old already?
Yeah, I feel 65 instead of 62, you know. And it's like all of a sudden the age thing has kind of blossomed around me and within me, and I'm a little triggered by it.
Well, I feel with you that what it's really doing is a part of you says, I should have been there by now. I should have accomplished it by now. I've already gotten done. And sometimes in some areas, you feel you haven't.
Well, I'm looking at a lot of my peers, and they're taking trips around the world and hugging grandbabies, and I'm alone watching Masterpiece Theater.
Well, that's what I see you changing, because I'm seeing on a social energy, you being very involved with some other people that I think you'll thoroughly enjoy. And I see you allowing yourself, whatever's a period in your life you wouldn't have.
Repeat that last sentence. There's a period in my life.
There's a period in your life that you would have not allowed that to occur.
Oh, I see.
You felt focused on what you had to do and who you had to do it with and keep all those things in order.
Yes.
And now, what about me?
Well, I have so many ideas, and I have come to the conclusion that ideas are living things.
Yes. And
they have a life of their own.
I feel there are people talk about having a bucket list. Honey, you need a big bucket.
I do need a big bucket. I hope there's no holes in my bucket.
No holes there. You're doing fine.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to ask you a fast question, and I really don't want to belabor it. What do you do with the common question people have everywhere? Can I quit my job and go do my thing?
I feel a lot of people are doing it now, and they're doing it in a very responsible way. And there's a few people out there that I've had as a client. They look at me and go, I just want to quit and walk away. I don't want to deal with any of this anymore. I'm going to do it. And I've had a couple people do that, and then they come back for another reading and they're going, wow, you know, how do I do these things? Because I don't have the income now. I don't have the security now.
Well, how do you separate the two? Because I get that all the time.
Well, what I do with separating the two, when I'm reading for someone, I pick up on what's coming up here as an opportunity of future and choices.
I see.
If they're then guided towards the choices that are going to bring the security and balance. So yeah, they're a change and they're achieving, but they're being smart about it. They're being responsible about it. And the change of energy continues on then. You know, I had a lady recently that she teaches horticultural things. She teaches gardening and organic gardening. And she said to me, she said, Greg, she goes, I don't tell anyone I live in a condo. But she says, I teach all these things at the college and the school. And she says, and I live in a condo. She says, I don't have enough light in my place to grow anything. But I find that she's making that break. And while she was here for the reading, she's aware now of the transition to actually living somewhere in the country setting where she's now going to have almost like a bed and breakfast where people are going to come and live there and be there for, say, a long weekend or a week, and really work on the grounds and really understand how to do and what to do to grow organically. And she's already got the property lined up, and she's in the midst of obtaining that. So there's people out there that are doing fantastic with that change, and there's other ones. Remember something, our jobs in many ways are lessons. You know, how are we going to look at it, and in what way we're going to deal with it? Are we going to deal with it in a hard way, easy way, right way, wrong way? And it's a lesson, and everything in our life is a lesson. But think of it this way: destiny is the lesson is coming. Free will is, how are we going to learn it? Are we going to learn it the hard way, the easy way, the right way, the wrong way? You know, we can have a lesson, and I find people all the time saying, "Well, I learned that." Well, no, you didn't learn it because you didn't accept it. Because what happened is, here's this huge lesson coming at you, and you're figuring out, well, I like this part, and I like that part, and that part over there is okay, but the other part I don't really like, so I don't really want that. So if we push it away, then we're really not accepting the lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
If we really accept it, I feel that the mountain turns into a speed bump, and we can go over that nice and easy, and it's fine. But many people don't think of it in that form. They only want to pick out of it what they want, and the rest of it we haven't accepted still's there, and it's still going to fall on us in some form.
Very, very excellent answer. Karen D. down in Florida, you're up next. You're on deck, stepping into the batter's box. You're with Greg.
Hello.
Hello. This is indeed a blessing.
Hi.
And in more than one ways. I didn't even have internet connection until today.
Uh-huh. Wonderful.
So I'm excited.
One of the first things around you, dear, I want to say certainly healing energy, and you love doing it. And I feel an energy there of that really growing. And would you recognize the thought of putting something together that you were really thinking about writing in an explanational manner, how people can tap in?
I'm in the process of finishing a book on caregiving. And I've been told I was going to write other books, but I didn't know what they were going to be.
Well, I see you explaining to people the reason why we can get better, and we have the healing, and it all works, and it's great, and then we end up with the problem back again. Because we haven't made the changes we needed to make, and we haven't had the acceptance we need to have, and we haven't allowed ourselves to let go and heal.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that and understand that. And I'm seeing you be able to put that in words.
I call it Indian giving.
Yes. And that's what I feel coming is you're writing about it and helping people understand, because I've had many people say to me, well, I felt better, I got better, everything really, seemingly worked well. And then it turns around and you got the same problem back. And I've seen that happen. And when that happens, it's something we have not accepted and learned what we needed to, or it wouldn't be there and continue.
Mm-hmm.
And you're tapping into energies around that, and writing the book you're writing is wonderful. Please continue. Get it finished up and get it out there. People are in need of it. And I see another book coming up of an explanation of healing. And as you do that, that's going to be pretty amazing that you're putting that together, and that's going to work for you in a good way. And it's really going to bring you the balance you've really been desiring. So I know it's there for you. It's just a matter of time taking care of it. And would you recognize you were thinking recently of taking more time out and organizing the time out for you to have the time to relax and not allow it to be a disturbance to you, but allow it to be a balance in your life?
Yes.
And would you understand you've been thinking about it recently, that you've been debating it a little bit, that you've been back and forth on a trip away where it's like it is just a trip away to have quiet and peace and just go explore?
Mm-hmm.
Because I see that working for you in a really nice manner. I think you're going to be very happy with it.
Good, because I plan on it.
Now, would you recognize at one time you considered the idea of camping?
Yes.
Because I feel this energy with you of making up your mind about things, and I could see you looking at the idea of being in a rustic environment, really enjoying it, and I felt, not that you don't have a a decent bed to sleep in and all that. I mean, but I feel really comfortable with that kind of energy. And I can see it working for you in a really positive manner. And there's been a need for you to allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And would you recognize in yourself recently, you've been thinking more on a dietary level of what am I eating that is really benefiting my body more? Because I just see you starting to shift a little bit on the idea of how am I doing my foods.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that expanding for you. That's going to be quite nice. Any question?
You're very good with diet.
Yeah, you're pretty right on with. I mean, I really am, and there's one place I really want to go, and I'm determined I'm going to get there.
Well, not only are you going to get there, but I see you getting there in better health yet, and being able to physically go do the things you want to do, because there's a few things you wanted to do that you didn't feel you were quite in shape for.
That's true.
And that's what I feel with you. I keep seeing spirit, and they keep doing this, dear.
That's the Rocky spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been ripping out a bathroom the last 2 days.
Uh-huh.
But I moved, and one of the reasons I relocated was to be able to accomplish some of these things.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and I feel you're on your way to doing it. I just feel with you that you haven't got the house in the order you want it in yet, and that's been holding you back a little bit because I don't want it halfway done. I want it in order.
That's right.
And you get it in order.
I'm living in a construction zone. It's going to be done, finished, and then I'm.
Yep. And would you recognize one of the things you've thought about doing as an opportunity would be riding a bicycle more?
Yes.
Because they show me the bicycle, and I'm seeing you enjoying it, and they said to me, change the seat.
Okay.
Make sure you have brakes.
I have brakes.
Well, I see a
In fact,
I see a very nice seat, and I see the seat being either a gel seat or something similar because it's very comfortable, and I feel like you're going to thoroughly enjoy it.
I told you you always end it with a car, didn't I?
This
time with a bike.
I have a bike trail that goes all over the place. It's not even, I don't know any distance. It's not very far. If I can learn to ride on the little bit of dirt road I have, it'll be a breeze.
Well, I think you're going to absolutely love it, and I'm seeing you enjoying it, and I'm seeing the tires on the bike a little fatter than normal, and I feel you don't have one of those little skinny things, but I feel really good about it, and I think you're going to have fun.
Great.
Also, would you recognize a short time ago you actually were intrigued by an electric bike?
I'm not sure.
Well, I saw a battery bike, and I see it as something you pedal, you ride like a normal bike, but I feel you can also flip the switch, and you got some power on it, and it'll take you down the road.
Sounds neat.
Well, I see you opening doors for things there, and I want to say congratulations. Keep at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Greg. We're going to move on. We've got lots of people. Up next, Greg, you're not going to remember this. Maybe you will, because Leslie's down here on the bottom of the screen. Leslie and I used to come see you different times in '82. And I think she followed up and met you in Lilydale. But if you saw a picture, you would remember. But she's from Wheeling, and Leslie, you're on with Greg.
Hi,
Greg. Unfortunately, I'm the only one so far that doesn't have a camera on their computer. So
really?
I can see you, but you can't see me.
Well, I feel wonderful with your energy. And you've been noticing recently that you've stepped back from people some, and you've really regrouped on the idea of where am I wanting to spend the time and energy in my life.
Correct.
And I feel very good about that. Where are you presently living now?
I'm in Wheeling.
All right. Would you recognize the thought that off and on, now this isn't something you're doing right now or immediacy of change, but would you recognize the thought that you really have considered the thought of moving?
I have considered it. Yes.
Don't be surprised here if the next 2-year time span you start looking things over and I see you traveling somewhere that you're going to fall in love with and enjoy. I see it as a wonderful energy you'll have a great time with, and I see you taking the time to go and enjoy it more. So that door is going to be opening, and once that happens, I see you spending more time away and enjoying that. It's a wonderful feeling to have that time out. And I'm seeing your life changing. I don't know what work you're doing right now, but I keep seeing money, work, security. And would you recognize you've been debating the idea of changing that?
I actually am in a process of change. I'm not working right now.
Well, they show me the change to new work, new job, new energy. I feel very good about it. And I feel very comfortable that you're really achieving something here. And I see you being quite a bit happier. And it's really a nice energy. I feel very at peace about it.
Okay. Hopefully, yeah.
Well, I don't feel even know where it's at yet.
No, I really don't.
And I see the door opening where I feel in the next few days, I see a contact or connection that you're going to look at and say, well, I want to make sure that they know I'm available. And I can see you connecting with someone. You may hear about it word of mouth. Then it's going to shift to really knowing and connecting with them. And it's a real nice feeling. I think you're going to have a great time.
Okay, hopefully.
And would you recognize, too, you've been a little concerned about running out of funds in a sense that I don't want to touch what I have sitting aside?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I kept seeing you debating that a little bit as to, well, what do I spend the money on and not spend the money on? But I want to say, I'm not saying you're going to just be free and go take a vacation, but I feel like you're going to have something lined up with work very shortly. It's going to give you the security that you're needing, and you're certainly going to be more at peace with it.
Hey, Greg, what do you pick up on a fellow named Cliff, who has passed over?
I felt an energy with Cliff that when he died, he knew he was leaving. And I felt an energy with him. I felt peace with him. But he said to me he didn't get to say things and share things on the earth plane the way he wanted to. And he wanted very badly to reach out and do that. And I feel that it's something you were left hanging with the idea of, well, is he all right or not all right? And I want to say he is all right. And I feel he reaches out to help.
Yeah, I think I have a strong sense since he's been gone often of him being involved with us.
Well, you have a piece of his clothing?
I have several, yes.
And you recently have picked it up and smelled the clothing?
I do.
Because he said to me, he says, tell her I know that and tell her I'm with her and I want her to know everything over here is all right. And he's reaching out to make your life okay. Where he can touch in and help, he will.
Yeah, I actually keep a pair of his shoes on, and I recently moved everything out to clean, and so I had them in my hands.
Well, he's with you, and there's love there and bond there. And he said to me, he's been trying to get through to you in a dream level, but sometimes you remember things and sometimes you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And would you recognize also, you've been having an experience where you've heard noises in your home that's not neighbors or somebody making noises, it's actually in your area, your home. And you sometimes hear thumps and bangs.
Yeah, matter of fact, I've had several instances in the past month where I think there's going to be somebody coming to see me because I'm hearing noises that sound like doors opening in the house.
Yes.
And there's nobody there.
Well, he wants you to know he's there and he's around you. And he said you have a hard time accepting that he's in spirit, even though you went through the whole rigmarole of death and dying and all the things. I feel like you at times are still a little tiny part of you resists the idea of him being in heaven.
Well, I miss him.
I know you miss him and he misses you. In a tangible sense, he misses you. But on a spiritual sense, honey, he's got his arms around you and wants you to know he's there.
Greg, I've worked with Leslie a long time, and she has a lot of very strong psychic abilities. We used to do a lot of experiments with, I would imagine I was somewhere and she would describe it.
Yeah.
I mean, like 10 for 10. And I wouldn't say a word.
Yeah, but
My point is that she's got these abilities, but she kind of sneaks up on them slowly, is cautious of them, it seems to me sometimes. I know what it is astrologically, but what do you have to say to her about these gifts that she has very strongly?
Well, I feel, honey, you got the gifts, and it's great because I feel like it's something that you have naturally. It's not something you forced or pushed to do.
right.
You're following it. But I feel there's a part of you that wants to make sure you're in charge of it and that you're not going to just fly off into something and not be able to be anchored. You love being anchored.
Yeah.
And I feel the
Yeah.
energy from you that you're needing to relax because, hun, you're anchored with spirit. And your anchoredness is working with spirit. It's not the idea of you being in a conscious basis anchored. It's the idea of you being anchored in a spiritual way.
What an excellent answer for somebody with a moon next to Saturn in the 8th house.
Well,
That's exactly what you just said.
It's working well for you, dear, because I see you opening up. And I feel you're going to allow it. And this gentleman at times can be a jokester.
Yeah.
Correct? That makes sense there?
Yes, it does.
Because
It does. I miss his sense of humor.
he said to me, he says, tell her I'm not where it's hot.
I predicted when the two of them would meet, and I was right.
You
now,
did.
I don't know how I did that. Hey, Leslie, thank you so much. We're going to move on. I'm so glad you got the messages from Cliff, dear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you too, Greg.
You're welcome.
I will put his phone number up again for those of you who like to arrange private readings with him or to go to his website. Up next on our list is Carla. And Carla, let me find you on my screen, which is so crowded today. There she is. And Carla, you're on with Greg, dear.
Hey, Carla.
Carla, can you hear? Carla, can you hear us? I don't know. Let's wait and see if she reappears. Something appears to have happened. Carla, one more time? Okay, we'll come back to you as soon as we see you reappear. Laura, you are up next. I'll give you a moment to breathe. Talk about the hot seat. You're on the hot seat with Greg.
Well, hi, Greg. Thank you for taking time with us.
Hey, how you doing?
You know, too good to put up with, let me tell you.
Yeah, good. Well, I get good things around you, dear, emotionally. I feel like you're stepping back a bit, and you've been reanalyzing where you are in your life. You've been reanalyzing how you want your life to now be. And I feel like you're really starting to put some things together.
Trying to. Been through a wearing blender the last couple years.
Well, let's say it this way. I don't feel negative at all about you and where you are because I feel you've had plenty happen around you that you certainly didn't consider the most positive at times. But I feel like you're now looking at it and realizing you're not recreating the past. You're now creating a future. And in creating a future, you're focusing on the idea that I really want to have harmony in my life. Yeah. Because when you recognize there was a lot going on where you tried to help, heal, and uplift others, and boy, you got sucked into some real negative stuff.
That's one way to put it, yeah.
And I feel like you're now standing aside on the shoreline watching the river roar by, and it's going to calm down, and it's going to be easier, and you can step in and go with the flow then without it being a raging rapids. It's something you can step in and go with the flow. And I feel an energy with you emotionally. You're really stepping away from people and realizing that you're picking very carefully now, where am I sharing the energies? And that's been a need for you to do that. That's really been a need for you to bring that balance in place.
That makes perfect sense.
And would you recognize on a family level, you love them, but you're at a point with some of the family where I want to step back a bit and not have to deal with their dramas, because there's a few of them there that absolutely love their drama.
I think it's more the intensity of an aging parent I have an elderly mom that is requiring a great deal of attention.
Honey, she can make a saint crazy.
You know, she's a really good person, but she's elderly. And there are days when I just really don't feel like having to drag her off to the next doctor's appointment or the next round of things. And then I feel guilty, you know, for not being more supportive.
Well, let me say it to you this way. It has nothing to do with you feeling guilty. It has nothing to do with you needing to feel guilty. It has nothing to do with the fact that you do have your moments of frustration. And I feel the energy around that where I'm seeing you starting to organize things that fits your schedule. In other words, she's not organizing what she's doing and you're going to have to fit hers. I see you organizing what she's doing so it fits yours.
Trying to, yeah.
And that's what I feel is a new little twist to what's going on, is you're bringing it in balance. And it's like, now that'll be more convenient for me. And that's where I see you setting it up that way more.
Okay.
And I see that helping a lot. And there's a gentleman in spirit saying to me that he's with you, he's with her, he watches over her. And would you recognize she's commented about knowing he's around her?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I see her speaking of spirit at times in present tense, not past tense.
Absolutely.
And as she speaks about them in present tense, they're around her all the time communicatively. And I feel like sometimes she's here in the conscious world and actually dealing with things in the conscious world. And there's other times she's not.
Well, she's always kind of been in her own reality at times. But yeah, I think that's probably.
Well, she got her own little world going there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel good about it. It's fine. You got more babysitters on the spirit side of life, dear. It's just too bad you can't have them here on the conscious level. But I mean, they watch over her and communicate with her.
Can you tell he's read to 50,000 people already?
You know, he's been at this a day or two, I can tell.
It ain't easy. Believe it's not easy. By the way, interruption. We're running out of time, so we're going to read 4 more people after you. And I just apologize to ones we didn't get to, but this is my way of inviting Greg back to be like a every 2 month regular or something like that. You think you can handle that?
Hey, that'd be great.
Everybody get a thumbs up on that?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Laura. Go ahead.
Fine.
I feel good things coming in your life. And recently you've been thinking about that your lower back has bothered you off and on?
Some.
Because I get an achiness in my lower back as we're talking, and I get a feeling also, just recently, there's been real thoughts about taking on the idea of exercise in a way where I want to build my stamina. I want to have my stamina energy physically up higher.
What's the deal with dizziness? I'm dealing with dizziness all the time.
Well, I feel the dizziness is there as part of it. Now, I'm not saying you don't have a physical condition, but I want to say on a spiritual level, you're picking up on energy from everybody, and literally it's a perfect statement in the sense of saying they're making you dizzy. There's too many things you've had to deal with. There's too many things you're trying to keep track of. And I see you starting to reduce that down to here's my calendar. Here's the things that are necessary and what I need to do. And other than that, I'm not going to worry about it. And I feel on the physical level, you've had something going on where a virus or infection in your body, left-hand side of your mouth and jaw has bothered you off and on. Remember having an achiness around the gum or tooth area?
Possible. Not recently.
Okay.
Not recently that I can think of.
I feel an energy with you, and I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe, but I feel an energy with you of some sort of low-grade infection that's in the body that has lingered, and you've been having difficulty with sleep too.
Oh, always, yeah.
Because I feel with you, you don't sleep a regular 8 hours, dear. You sleep a lot less. And you'll be in and out. It's not like a steady sleep where you're really sleeping.
Right.
And I feel there's something going on in the body, and I'm not sure if it affects other parts of your body or not, but there's something going on there that has kept you fatigued. Because you're pushing at times to keep going and doing the things you need to do.
Some days.
And I feel by you coming to a point here, there's going to be some additives in your body that would be natural medicines, natural things, vitamins, minerals type stuff. And I could see you finding out what your body's needing, because I feel like you're actually lacking in some areas. And if you were to replenish that, and it's like your whole chemical system would balance out better.
Okay.
And I do feel the balance, and literally meaning the balance. I see balance working better too.
Okay.
Laura,
Thank you.
did you say you're having trouble with your lower back?
Intermittent. I think part of it is I have to be careful how I sit for any length of time.
Okay, because I'm just saying to people, it's unbelievable the help I've gotten from this rodeo core machine. Just look it up, rodeo core machine. You don't plug it in, you ride it kind of like a bicycle, and it really strengthens the core, and it really helps that lower back. It's unbelievable. That's the end of my commercial. Go ahead.
I see things
Really?
working good for you, dear, because I see your mom, strong lady, determined lady. Mentally, she's slipping some, but on a physical level, she's pretty strong.
Getting there. She's trying. She's trying. At 87, how strong can you really be? You know,
But you know what? She makes up for it in stubbornness.
that she does. That she does. I'm in
Well,
the midst of a career change. Do you get anything on that?
actually, I feel very good about career change, because I feel like you actually had a false start a while ago and was going to, and then it didn't work.
I've been in the interview process now for a while.
Okay.
And I'm having to give up a career that I've had for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Because of physical issues. And now I'm like trying to figure out where to go from here. And I'm wondering if you were getting anything on that.
Well, two things. I feel there's another job environment, career environment that I know you're going to have an opportunity with. It's a different one than what you've been doing, but I also feel using a lot of the same skills.
That makes
And I
sense.
feel like that's going to be there for you. And I don't see the physical activity of lifting and doing and all that. I get a gentler energy on your body.
Okay. That's
That's
exactly
going to
what I
work
mean.
good. And would you recognize you thought for sure the one job was basically going to line up, and then it didn't happen.
Absolutely.
And they said to me, it's the wrong one.
I
And
accept
don't
that.
worry about it. Just let go of it, because sometimes you kick yourself in the thought of, did I say this wrong? Did I say too much? Did I say too little? And I want to say, no, forget it. Move on.
Okay.
Because you beat yourself up over things at times, and people have no clue.
Sure.
And I see the new work being a job where the old skills, a lot of them you'll utilize, and I see you stepping into it. And once you're in the role of it, you're moving along with it, there's going to be a confidence basis built very quickly, and you'll be very happy with the results.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much, Laura. Running out of time, pushing on. Suzanne is up next. Let me unmute her. Welcome, Suzanne. You're talking with Greg.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm heading up to Lilydale Saturday morning for the Bang Out end of the season.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, I'm very happy to be able to talk to you.
Well, wonderful. I'm sorry I won't be here on Saturday, because we're going to take off Friday and Saturday, and we're going down into Pennsylvania somewhere. But we're going to do that, and I'm sorry I'll miss you in the sense of meeting you in person. So let's start with a question, dear. What do you have for a question?
I don't really have a question. I guess I've been doing similar work to you for about 5 years.
Mhm.
And I'm self-taught basically, so I've learned a lot of great things along the way, and I've discovered that I'm a physical medium, where
Mhm.
when I do my work, if somebody had a brain tumor, all of a sudden I get a bad headache, or especially the coughing in my throat, the tickle in my throat, it always matches up. So I feel like it's authentic, and that's one way I do evidentiary mediumship as
Yeah.
well. There's always at least 2 matchups, and that would be considered one of them. But anyway, it's just thrilling to talk to you. And if you have anything for me.
Well, I feel an energy around you that I want to say, let's make sure you're taking time to, after you've done some of that work where you're really truly in it and feeling it, that you take time to make sure we do a sweep through and cleanse.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I feel that is an energy with you that the things you get into at times can be really in depth. And when they're that in depth, I want to make sure it's really cleansed out of the way and it's not a factor for you later. The other aspect is you've been finding recently that sometimes you have people that you would not consider the most sincere.
Yeah.
They're questioning things, doubting things, testing things. And I want to say, I'm seeing you learning to step aside from that and look at it as something that, listen, this is what I have to share, and this is very meaningful to you, and hopefully you really understand it and you share it. And to not feel like I have to do more or give more to somehow motivate them or convince them of what's there. Because you have at times put out a lot of energy trying to motivate someone to understand more. That makes sense?
Yeah. I'm wondering, Greg, if you're picking up anything to do with what I would call, like I consider myself a starseed, and there's a lot of controversy around that. I feel like I don't want to be here anymore, and I'm not saying publicly that I'm committing suicide, but I really don't want to be here anymore. And I feel like at times I step from one dimension into another. I feel like my colleague and I are both drawn to more than ever the Christ consciousness. There's just been a lot of synchronicities in my life for the past month or 2 months where I think I found a most recent past life online. Everything really matched up, and there's a Christ consciousness connection with that. Yeah. But I really feel like I want to really get in-depth meditation connection with what I consider my star family, where they've always been in the background, and they've also been part of the healing that I do with Reiki. But I just feel like I do want to leave a portion of myself behind, not split apart or anything like that. And I just wonder if you're picking up any of that tendency, because I really don't want to be here.
I feel that's around you, dear, but I'm going to put it this way. I look at a person at a level of here we are consciously, then we are here in a superconscious manner, and then we're here in a soul level. And the energy I feel with you at a soul level, you chose to be here, and this is an experience absolutely you're supposed to be here. There's no mistake.
Yeah.
And I feel the other energy is a part of you wants to go back to what you normally at one time in another lifetime experienced and felt and lived. And I feel like it was such more freedom than this clay physical body that we're now contained in. And I feel like you're learning to, in one level, I'm learning all these things and understanding them that I can step out further and further and further. Now, I step out of the body every night. I travel astrally all the time. I have people call me quite often and say, well, I saw you. You were there, or you were giving me healing. Now, that's how I deal with the idea of here in the physical plane, we're here, we're in this clay body. But we're needing to accept the fact that at a higher level, soul level, not just our consciousness, but a soul level, we've chosen the pathway of what we're here for, and we're supposed to be here. And I feel you're supposed to be here, and I recognize the frustration that you sometimes feel. But I feel gradually you're going to experientially move into astrally traveling, astrally doing things, connecting in dreams, which will fulfill the other areas. Because, sorry, dear, you're not leaving soon. And it's not anything that you're planning to do, but I'm saying you're not leaving soon. You got a lot to do here that I feel is helping, guiding, healing, and working with others. And I know there's a part of you that would rather say, can I leave in a week? I can close everything up and get it all done. And it's like, that's not where you're at. I see you here a lot longer in life. But I feel like your ability to tap into these other sources, and also some things that I would term from the past, but some things are futuristically where I'll be in the future and what I'll be experientially doing. And when you're talking about like a star child energy, I understand that's there, and I know you're a part of it. But what you're doing is you're glimpsing into the other lifetimes you've already lived. You're connecting some of those energies that was absolutely beautiful, and a freedom and a feeling of freedom. And it's something in this lifetime, it's like you've been grounded in the physical body, and you're needing to be here and experientially allow yourself to relax and enjoy what's here. And it's something that I could see you at times resisting, at times you're going with it. But I feel like it really becomes boring.
I want to share something with you too. I've been trying to put my finger on what's going on. You know me, I know it or I don't know it. And I've not been able to get it. And recently, I met a guy out of Los Angeles, a terrific astrologer who will probably be on this show. His name's Giancarlo Sciacco. He is remarkable, and I asked him what's going on. He finally made me see what's happening now. Is Neptune is loose by itself now. Neptune is the Saturn has moved away. Neptune and Chiron have separated. So what this funk is this last several months is the Neptune. And I think that's part of what Suzanne's picking up. Pure Neptune makes you want to escape. It makes you want to go to the God Center. It makes you want to go into the realm of the ethereal. So we're going to be addressing this next week and for several weeks to come because it's so big and it's so non-Plutonian, thank God. We're on to another subject. Another thing, Greg, I want to say before we finish with Suzanne. Suzanne is a remarkable woman in the sense she's a Libra and she's very socially conscious. She's very conscious of the world. When she's got something to do, she gets up and does it. She don't talk about it. She gets up and does it. Her week is literally 8 days a week. She's conscious about fixing things, making things happen. And I can't imagine her looking out at this world and being around so many people that don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's hard for her.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
It's just a real thumbs up I'm giving you, Suzanne. And
Thank you.
Being self for you, we want you to stick around.
I will. I'll stick around. I want to thank Gregory. It was very lovely to talk to you, and I got out a lot of what you said.
Thank you very much, and we're going to definitely have Greg come back. I want to move along quickly. 3 people left. Sandy is not on camera, but let's see if Sandy is there. Sandy, you on the phone? Sandy, you're on with Greg. Going once, Sandy? Going once, Sandy? Okay, well, let's go back to Carla. Oh, I'm sorry. There you are, Sandy. I was working with the wrong. You must be logged in twice or something.
Yes, I had to log in twice.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're on, dear.
Thank you.
You're on with Greg.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, Greg. How are you?
Good, good. You know, dear, you have lived many times. I feel the lifetimes with you. I feel you have a lot of knowledge in this lifetime that's a collective of knowledge. And would you recognize you have a lot going on inside of you that goes back in time to simpler times, to simpler energy, and that you really find yourself a bit annoyed with how really messed up people can be.
I try to help them.
Well, I think you do a very good job of helping, dear, but sometimes, you know, I'm going to put this simply. There's a few cases where you look at it and go, I can't fix stupid. And I feel like you have put out an enormous energy to try to give and help and guide and uplift people, and you've done very well. But I just see you stepping back enough consciously that you're not going to let yourself be caught up in that negative energy of others that choose to be in their negativity. There are people out there that they like to thrive on the negativity, and if they can draw someone's time and energy, they feel very successful in doing so, but believe me, they don't want to change.
Oh.
And you've tapped into that where I'm seeing you now filtering people better and easier, and you're not letting yourself be as drained by that as you used to be.
I'm trying to kind of limit some of that, yes.
Well, see, in the past, you were going to fix them no matter what. I mean, knock yourself out.
Boy, is that dangerous.
And now I feel like you're at a point where you're stepping aside enough and realizing that I'm not going to let myself be so drained anymore emotionally. You know, that makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
And it allows you to have the energy to really help others even more, because now I'm retaining the energy for the right people in the right way, for the right healing and the right balance. And it's working super. And you're allowing that now to occur where in the past, you'd have fought it. It's like, by God, I can fix it. I can see the move forward. I can see them making changes. And I feel there was quite a few people there that they wanted to pacify you by going along with things because they always gained so much from you. And now I feel like you're really sharp on the idea, are they in need or are they in greed?
What a great phrase.
And that's working for you. It's working really well. Now, where are you where do you live?
Iowa.
Would you recognize in the midst of where you are that you sometimes feel the earth energy, and you feel the earth energy changing a bit?
Mm-hmm.
And would you recognize at times you like walking outdoors and just feeling what the earth is doing? Because I kept seeing a symbol of you standing outside, just on the ground, and feeling energies that I feel are in the earth and flowing through the earth. And I feel for you to take time to do a little meditativeness in that manner where I can relax and allow myself to just become a part of the earth's vibration.
I'm very worried about the earth also.
I know. That's why I'm saying this, because your thought and prayer is making changes. And it will be a change you can feel that when you vent that energy of prayer and thought, you're venting it into the earth. And remember, that affects everyone on the earth. That brings a new intent and thought with people and thought and process, belief systems. Because you have some people around you out there that have some belief systems that they would think is supposedly very spiritual, but it depends on who's looking at it.
Called quantum. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please take time to do that, and I think it'll make a wonderful energy change for you too. And remember, it doesn't matter your size, your thoughts, your energy. You stand out there and you allow yourself to send out the thought of harmony of what you know would be wonderful for the earth and everyone on it.
All right.
And take time to do that. I think that'll make an amazing difference in energy.
Great. For my energy too?
Absolutely. Remember, you'll have the satisfaction of feeling like you felt something shift and change for the better.
That's a wonderful feeling too.
Yes.
Great.
And I know when you notice that, it's really important to do that, to allow that.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. 2 people left. Thank you very much, Greg. On to Susan A. Let me find the right button. Susan, you are on with Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you again. I met you through fellowship several times.
Uh-huh. Good. You met me through fellowship. When was that?
Oh my gosh. You came and taught Elaine's class once or twice. That would have been about 2001 or 2002. And I've sat in your circle over at the new fellowships building outside of the Dale. And I've met you around the Dale as well. I know several people who live there now from our old class.
Oh, good.
And I used to hang out there quite a bit.
Well, I recognize you now. Now that your picture's on the screen here, I recognize you now.
Yeah, so I'm interested not only in who's in spirit around me, because I've had people appearing to me lately a great deal in my dreams that I hadn't heard from in years, but also I'm working very hard on a book, a memoir of my parents and their Holocaust experience. I'm through chapter 5. And I've kind of launched a new mini career in art as well. Not doing a whole lot with mediumship or spirit portraits lately. Just I'm going where spirit sends me. So whatever comes up, I'm good with it.
I think that's working very nicely for you, and it's really peaceful. I like it. And I also feel with you with the parents now, both parents have passed away.
Yes.
Because when you were talking, I felt that you're so in tune to the parents and what their story would be, that you, in a sense, have lived it emotionally, and you felt it emotionally as they would share and impart things to you.
Yes, it's a responsibility thing. I need to keep their stories alive.
That, and also too, they're actually interjecting energies in your thoughts that are from spirit, and they're doing this, and they're giving you the guidance in that manner, and you're writing it, but they're writing it in a sense through you.
Yes.
And that's developing even more. And I feel also you're not going to stop at that book. I see another book beyond that. And I feel the energy of that I see this being finished pretty quickly, really. There's something here that I'm seeing you feeling you can wrap it up.
Thank you. It's very pertinent with today's political climate as well.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. Now, I don't want to go off into a bunch of political stuff, but I'm going to say it this way. They've already built the camps in the United States to house people and to keep people that would be, in their minds, dissident in some manner. And I feel that this is already being done. It's being kept quiet, but it's already been done. I've actually read for a few people that drove the truck for supplies, taking it to some of these camps. And I feel an energy with it that we're a lot more, let's say, in the people of power in the governmental manner, they're really feeling that the way they're going to do it is they're going to just have total martial control at one point. And I don't feel it's going to work well. I don't see it really working at all in some areas. And it's something that I feel where you're talking about what happened to your family. I really feel there's going to be some things in the future here that are reminders of that. And people are going to have to get into an uproar and realize that we can't allow ourselves to repeat history over and over and over and over. And in essence, all of us know and realize history does repeat itself. And there's no need for that to happen in this country. And I don't believe it will to the extent that they're looking at or planning. And I feel that we keep playing around throwing these little bombs back and forth and trying to threaten everybody and puff up the chest and say, look at me, I'm tougher than you are, and I have more bullets than you have. And I feel that you innately feel and know that energy, and you in this country, in the U.S., you're feeling some of those energies with people. And when you watch the news, you communicate things back and forth, there's a real recognition of the energy that your parents experienced and felt, as well as now you're experiencing and feeling some things here that is preemptive. You're understanding it and you're seeing it coming, that there are things that are not supposed to happen.
Right.
And you're picking right up on it, dear. You're doing fine. And I want to say, write the book, but I'm going to say it in this form. You're going to write more about the idea of how people let a lot of things grow and occur that should have never. But you watch them grow and occur and you understand how it happens. And you're actually understanding right now how some people in this country are doing that.
Well, we could go on with this about 25 years. You're exactly right, and I do want to bring you back and talk more about that sometime. I do want to get to the end here and make sure that Margaret gets her reading, and then I'll have a few wrap-up moments with you, Greg.
Yeah.
Did you take at least a drink of water during the show?
Sure.
Okay. Margaret, you're on with Greg. That's our final reading for tonight. Thank you.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good. So actually, I do have a question because so many things string together. I'm just getting over a shoulder surgery, and my knee doesn't seem to want to go on much longer. That segues into the house I live in, which I would like to stay in, but it would be very difficult for me living here by myself to manage through a knee replacement, which is a long recovery. And then that segues into where I'm going, what I'm doing, a new partnership. Who knows?
Well, the one thing I feel with you that I want to say be aware of, I don't see an immediacy of packing it in and saying I'm moving and that's it. I feel like you're really rearranging your life more, and I feel recovery time with the knee is going to be quicker than you're thinking. And I feel the energy there of you literally being able to get up and get going after a surgery, and you'll be on your own doing what you need to. Now, I'd see you for a little while needing some help and things like that, but I don't see it as any extended period of time. And I feel that you're a great deal tougher and stronger than sometimes you think, because emotionally, oh, you got kicked around pretty good there for a while.
I want to interject for a moment. I think this is important. And Elke, you can listen in on this. Margaret, I know I've seen your chart. I don't remember it. I don't want to bring the chart much right now. But when I hear the knee, I hear one thing. Is at the time the knee started to hurt you, to become a problem, are you involved in a situation where you're being very resolute and you could be more flexible? That's what I think is the cause of the issue. What are you picking up there?
I feel that fits because the energy I feel there, the multitude of things that piled up, overwhelmed her.
Are you could you be more flexible on a major issue in your life right now?
I think the major issue for me is whether I stay in a house that I worked very hard to build.
Well, that's,
and I went through, so in the 15 years since I originally injured this knee, I went through the end of a marriage, the death of two parents, a retirement, a rare neurologic diagnosis.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I want to look at your chart online some other evening. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I feel you're going to work things out here better because I really don't see you jumping out of that house real quickly. I see an energy there that at a later time, I see you making a choice and moving. But when you make the choice and moving, it's something you're choosing to do. It's not a circumstance of I have to do and I have to do it quickly because of whatever. I don't see that. I see this as something that you're going to choose to do. And I also feel with the shoulder now, you had a difficult time with the shoulder for a long time there.
Probably 30 years. And then when I retired, I would try to get more active. And that kind of put an end to it. But it's doing very well.
I see you healing wonderfully. I'm not a doctor that can't prescribe, but I feel you're healing wonderfully, and it's not a problem at all. And you're going to be extending that and really getting yourself on track with feeling better in a complete way. So don't be hesitant here. I also feel, too, not that you're diving into a knee surgery, but I get the feeling here of you really starting to eliminate the idea of what you're feeling upset over, because there's a part of you that gets really, really disturbed deeply. And what I see you now doing is stepping back enough and looking at it and saying, okay, God, guide me into where I need to be making decisions, where if it's pertaining to moving to another home, you know, you're putting it out and asking the guidance to be there instead of trying to say, I am consciously making all these decisions. Where am I guided and what am I guided to? And I see it calming down because remember, I don't know if you heard the whole show, but we were talking earlier and I had said about destiny is a lesson coming at us and free will is how we're going to learn it. And I feel an energy here that the destiny is you have all these events that are lessons, but you're needing to step back enough and allow it to be something. I ask Spirit to help me because they respect our free will. They watch us bump our heads if we don't listen and open up and ask them for the help. And this is where I want to say, in a really quiet, peaceful, spiritually minded manner, let's send out that thought and prayer and then let go of it. And then let the things come to you that intuitively is guiding you, because I just see you shifting to a whole nother level of understanding and a whole nother level of moving forward in your life. And I see you being quite happy. I see you actually being a lot more adventurous, even though you're thinking, well, I have limitations. Many of those limitations are not going to be there forever. They're out of the way and gone.
There you go.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's good. And Rick, I'm a Virgo.
Okay. Well, I want to look at your chart. Would you like to be our guinea pig next week?
Yeah, I should be.
I won't get too personal. I keep it clear and astrological. But almost all my readings are Virgo women. So I'm glad to have you at the end of next week's show. Thank you, Margaret, for your time. I want to wrap up by telling you, Greg, that I ran across a book that was an analysis of this place called Lilydale by this, this woman named Wicker, something Wicker. And in the book, she happened to pick out one of the residents there and focused on him. His name was Greg Keene. I'm sure you know all about the book. And it was really humorous to me because she was a real big doubter. And every time you showed her something, she believed, she experienced, then she would doubt. Then you would show her this, show her that. People would talk, do stump reading, and then she would doubt. And at the end of the book, she said, well, it's really not my thing. And it was so funny because you had got to her, you turned her on, she just wasn't ready for it. Anyhow, I want to thank you so much, everybody, for being here, especially our Reverend Greg Keene. I'd like to invite you. I think will be a good thing like every 3 months, once per season, to have you on. If you would be nice enough to join us.
I'd love to. Love to.
And I don't want to work you too hard. I thought 2 hours was pretty good. You seem to be just fine. I want to apologize to people who we could not get to. We're doing what we can. But Greg, thank you once again. Tomorrow this will all be put onto YouTube if you would like to link to it. Thank everybody once again. Greg, thanks you. It was wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoyed meeting all of you and enjoyed working with you.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks.